How you doing? My name is Elijah, um, visual arts major. Go to at Mason Groves. And today we're going to be talking about vulnerability in artistic spaces. We have
Yo, what's up? My name is Ricardo Reed Jr. I am the BFA acting major here at Mason Groves, freshman.
so Ricky. How does vulnerability play into your everyday life?
I think growing up, I was a lot more sensitive than the rest of my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
My parents let me know that. I was always crying and stuff like that. So I guess I picked the right profession. But in my day-to-day life, vulnerability just goes farther than just, being sensitive to when people say to you or, being open with the people around you. It's also being vulnerable to yourself and to your surroundings. You know what I mean? So it's like, in my day-to-day life, I think at times it enhances my day, being able to allow myself to break myself with these expectations that I put on me and let myself just sit there and really talk to myself, really dissect myself. And being vulnerable kind of helps me understand deeper of who I am, not only as a person but as an artist. At times, and it's through vulnerability that you learn certain stuff about yourself. So sometimes you need to take a walk. Sometimes you just find something that you like, and it's through that. It's through allowing yourself to just wander around, be curious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you feel something, really ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What is prompting me to feel this way? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it something I should accept or not? So I think it really, vulnerability helps me grow as a person, as an artist.
Yeah, I feel. So when you think about making those spaces for yourself and making those places for yourself and figuring out what you need in order to continue to be vulnerable or to keep your core vulnerability. When you're doing your work and you're doing your practice, how does that vulnerability show through your work or help guide you through your work? And what would you say?
How does vulnerability help? As an actor, especially here at Mason Groves, you're taught to be open and to allow yourself to feel what your scene partner or scene partner is giving you, and to run with that. The definition that we are given here is acting is to do truthfully under imaginary circumstances. You know what I mean? So the vulnerability, it helps in the sense of letting yourself believe what's in front of you, even if it's not truthful, even if it's just a story. Telling yourself and allowing yourself to truly imagine, if you were there, what if this happened, or what if I was this kind of person, and allowing whatever emotion comes from that thought to come out, instead of trying to suppress it. Because I feel like with something like that, you'd be like, oh, well, it's not real, so I shouldn't be crying and da. But here, in a sense, it is real, because we have to play those roles, we have to do those actions. So vulnerability, how I apply vulnerability to my art craft is, I use it sort of as a key to open the door to emotion, mindset, and, allow myself to truly believe in that circumstance in which, the play, the character, or whatever, or story is given me.
So you would say, I like that answer. So you would say basically you step into other people's shoes and try to really make yourself feel what they feel.
In a sense, but also at the same time, you kind of stepping into your own shoes in a sense, building circumstances based off your own self to see what happens. Oh, what if I messed up my favorite pair of shoes, or what if I messed up my friend's sweater that was very important to them? You know what I mean? Asking yourself these questions and seeing how your brain reacts to it, and allowing your brain to fully react to it instead of trying to block it off, allowing your brain to be vulnerable to the effects of that imaginary circumstance.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
So, where do you see yourself? I don't want to say like where do you see yourself in 5 years, but like where do you see yourself as an artist? Like what is the biggest goal for you? And if there's no biggest goal, if like the sky's the limit, like what do you see for yourself?
Well, I mean, the sky is the
Sky is the
limit. But I definitely see my work impacting others, impacting the world. You know, I definitely see myself not becoming, like, I mean, obviously, with that stuff, the fame and stuff like that will come, but just not just being a famous figure, but sort of a leader in the sense of, the school of motion, because I always feel like my reason for acting is to make people feel. You know what I mean? I think the biggest privilege that I have as an actor is knowing that my performance made somebody cry, made somebody angry, made somebody happy, made somebody feel something. Just in general, to know that my performance evoked emotion out of you, like my performance could have made you cry after how long of you holding that up, but it was through my work that you were able to let go of that, or seeing my work made you mad, but it also gave you a new perspective. Right. It gave you a new mindset to work on, or new ideals to deal with. So I don't see myself as, I don't want to see myself as, more than just a famous figure, of course, because I do want to get to, the big industry where all the big movies and yada, yada, yada. But also, like, just a leader, like, I want to, like, one of my goals that I have in my mind is to have my own production company, like Tyler Perry Studios has and stuff like that, like A24. I want to own one of those. I want to go back to my old community back in East Orange and get back to that, show the kids back there that want to be artists like me, not just actors, but artists in general. Like you can do this. This can happen if you put the work in for it. So sky is the limit, but that's just a few goals or a few places I want to see myself out along the way.
I feel like I respect that because also too, like I know it's things that I want to do, like in terms of that, like giving back and like all of that, like because I feel like as artists in general, I feel like we feel what our people feel more than others, and it's like we can really like be in touch and in tune and like show in a new way and like give new perspective to brand new ideas or old ideas, like and shine light on things like that. And I feel like really this is the best job to do it, like because it's like as an artist, like yes, you can touch on so much in a way that the audience will get, like and grasp it. And I feel like it's artists like us, like our generation that's really like pushing those boundaries. You included, like so. Thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Pleasure working with you in the future. Yeah. Hi guys, so we're back again. Back with our conversation on vulnerability and artist practice and how those connect to each other. I'm Angella. As you all know, I'm a freshman, Mason Groves, visual arts. And we have...
my name is Audrey. I'm also a visual arts major and I'm also a freshman.
So today, we will be talking about vulnerability. So how does vulnerability take a play in your everyday life? Like, in terms of like just how you express your emotion, like who you open up to, and like things like that. And like, what traces of vulnerability do you see in your everyday life?
I'd say like for me, my vulnerability takes form as like me being sort of like quiet and reserved, unless I'm like with people that I'm like comfortable with. So it's like, for example, like I can have like open conversations with like friends and stuff about things that I'm going through or things that I'm feeling, but like it's kind of weird because it like I can't talk to my family at all about things, but it's kind of like people who aren't or people who don't like know me like know me like my mom, my dad, my sisters and stuff. Like it's hard to talk to them about things, I guess, because it's kind of like having that front of like friends still being sort of like strangers, sort of, and like that kind of like, I don't know, it puts me at ease when it's time to like open up about certain things.
So would you say because everybody knows like everybody has like a different attitude like when it comes to like dealing with like from friends to family and everything like that. So like would you say that because you can connect more with your peers and like your friends like on a certain level, like would you say that's why you feel more vulnerable around them? And like because it's like you get me, like you know, like we're going through similar walks of like just like coming of age and like finding ourselves. So it's like it's that reasons like you would say that?
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's kind of like in my family, it's kind of like my family knows me as like being independent, doesn't really need help, doesn't really show emotion, doesn't do this, doesn't do that. So like when it's time for me to do that, it's kind of just like harder for me because I don't want them to see me like weak or like that sounds so cliche, but like that's like the reality of it all. But then like when it's like friends, like you guys are learning who I am like now, so it's kind of like I can like voluntarily be more vulnerable, be more open with you guys instead of like where my family has already had this preconceived notion of who I am. It's like you guys are still like in the process of figuring out who I am, so it's like different that way.
So like what are some ways like you think you could change the narrative like to like when you're like dealing with your family like so that you could be like truly vulnerable with them like in that way like what like what steps do you think you would need to take to get to that with your family?
I think that like well on my mom's side at least, I come from like a traditionally like foreign Haitian household, and it's kind of like children are taught to speak when spoken to, and it's like whatever the adult says goes. So like not even just me, but just like my brothers and all my cousins and stuff, we're just like working together to like break those like old traditions in the sense of like being able and being like feeling like we can say like no, like this isn't right, I don't feel that way, or I feel this, or I want to do this. Like there's a lot of things that like traditionally American kids do that we're not like allowed to do. Like for example, get like our nose piercing stuff, which I did, and we'll deal with that later. But it's like taking steps to like take back who we are and like showing like the adults in our family that like it's okay to be different, it's okay to go outside of like traditional norms.
Yeah, like I feel that. Like in breaking barriers, I guess you could say that's something that artists do all the time. So it's like you're in the right profession. And it's like change is such a good thing, and it's like I just love the way that artists bring like life to like new ideas and like you know like the ways of life and like making like things that seem unreal and unimaginable to people like real life, like you know. And it's like, which brings me to my next question is like, you know, how does vulnerability and like, you know, being in tune with like who you are first, like play into your art practice and like your projects or you know like what you do?
I would say like I'm still figuring it out because when it comes to like my art journey, I still don't even really like know exactly like what I want to do, or like I don't even really have like a specific art style. Like whatever like I'm feeling at the time is what like my art would be at the time. But like I'd say like my main focus when it comes to like things that I've painted or drawn, it's like I want to picture or like it's always like in the attempt to like beautify the Black community. So like all my work is like portraiture, but it's always like Black boys, Black girls, Black women, Black men. And I don't know. I don't even know why. It's just like it's just always been around me. That's who I am, and it's just like it's easy. It's the easiest thing for me to like portray. And I can see myself in a lot of things that I draw. So it's kind of like that's what my art is so far. But I wouldn't like box it off to just be that because I still don't really even have a specific art style. Like I do a little bit of everything, like painting, drawing, digital work, printmaking, ceramics. So it's kind of like it's difficult for me to like get into that.
I wouldn't say I feel like boxing yourself in should, especially like as an artist, like shouldn't you shouldn't have to box yourself in. Like I feel like the range that you have and the versatility that you have is great because it's like you can do so many things and you can touch so many things and it's like what you were saying about like highlighting like the beauty in the black community. Like I tend to do that a lot in my work too, and like just POCs in general, because it's like representation is needed in those spaces, and it's like if you can be versatile in all these different art mediums, it's like you can really show like like the beauty in like each part of that from a black woman's perspective. Like so it's like in the last interview that I did with Ricky, we were discussing like giving back to the community and like really reaching out like those art, like the artistic world and like field to like people that look like us in our communities because it's not given that much. Like it's not as open. Like when I was younger, I used to want to do so much in the arts, and it's like because not being able to have those resources, it's like I kind of bended what I wanted to do based on around my environment. So it's like being able to be versatile in so many different things gives you range, and it's like that's range that you can give to your community. Like so, I believe it's a beautiful thing that you have versatility in your work, and I don't think you have to stick to just one thing because being an artist is being free, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think my mom helps a lot with that because my mom's an artist, and like that's where I even like got the idea to do art. So like she started off doing, I don't know, I just always saw her like sketching. Like we used to live in this big apartment with like these really big like floor to ceiling windows, and it'd be just like trees outside. So I'd always see her like doing that, and then she's kind of the one that like pushed me to even like pursue a career in art because it's not seen as like traditional or like it's not seen as something that can make me a lot of money. But at the end of the day, like it's not even really about making money and stuff. It's just like this is what I like to do. This is what I'm happy to do. So I'm really like yes, I care, but it's not like a big like factor like why I care. So
Like I definitely believe that like being an artist, like at least for most artists, like I know for me especially, like my passion and my purpose like comes before the money because it's like once like if you do something that's aligned and that's intentional with your passion and your purpose, all the money and like all those the money, the fame, the accolades, like all that stuff will fall into place if you're truly like passionate about what you do. I feel like yeah. So where would you like if like in the future, right? Like I don't want to say 5 years, 10 years from now, but like what would you see yourself doing? Like a big project, a dream project, let's say. Like what is a dream project for you or a dream thing that you would want to pursue in your artistic career?
I just want to be my own boss. Like, it doesn't really matter what I'm doing, but it's like, as long as I have my own creative freedom, creative control of like whatever artistic form I decide to do. Like, I've told you before, like I want to start a YouTube channel, I want to do UI UX design, I want to go into fashion maybe. So it's like, as long as I have my own creative freedom to do what I want, when I want, how I want it to be, then it doesn't really matter like what's going on, I guess, in that part of life, as long as like I can be my own boss and I can see it.
I definitely feel that because I'm definitely a huge advocate for entrepreneurs, like because especially like just not seeing entrepreneur, like I don't have like a whole list of like entrepreneurs in my family, so it's like I would be like one of like the first, and it's like being an entrepreneur. It's like it's just yes, it's work, it's work to like be your own boss because it's like you have to not only like know like who you are and be grounded in that, but like also to like taking on those responsibilities of people and like things like that, and also putting care. Like if you want to be a good boss, like because I refuse to be like a person who is like not understanding of people that work for me. Like I need my people that I work with and that work with me, because I don't want to even say work under me, but like work with me and like understand the vision to feel like they have the opportunity and they have a space to where they can also have the creative power and freedom. And it's not so much a job, but more of a passion-driven project, So, yeah, like I definitely feel it. But thank you so much for your time. It was great talking to you. Hopefully, we're definitely gonna be working together in the future. And yeah, it was great meeting you. So we're back again talking about the conversation of vulnerability and artist practice, and we're here with
Angela. Hi guys.
So what do you do, Angela?
I am a dancer with like my concentration in classical ballet and modern.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about vulnerability, right? So in your everyday life, how do you use vulnerability? Like how does that show up in your life?
For me, I use my vulnerability with like my friends and the way I communicate with them. I feel like the easiest way for me to be vulnerable is with people I'm comfortable with, and I'm comfortable with my friends. So whenever I want to express how I'm feeling or just like anything, it's easier for me to be vulnerable with people I'm comfortable with. It just happens.
Okay. So when it comes to being vulnerable, how does vulnerability play into like dancing and performing, like being performing?
Well, I feel like when you're dancing, you're always telling a story, and you're always trying to portray something, and there's emotion in that. And in order to be able to display that emotion and to get it across, you have to be vulnerable in your practice, and you have to try different things. You have to try to portray different emotions, and you have to feel it. Like, you know what I mean? You can't just. It's easy to act and pretend, but at the end of the day, it's not going to get put across if you're not actually feeling those emotions. So I have to be vulnerable with myself and the people I work with, and putting emotions into my dance so that you can see those emotions when I dance.
Okay. So like, in a couple years, like, as you keep going, what's a dream project for you?
For me, I really want to, like for starters, I really, really want to dance with like an artist. I want to be a backup dancer. That's like one of my biggest things, to tour with like an artist and dance with them, and eventually choreograph for other backup dancers and groups and stuff like that.
Okay. Like, have you done any choreographic work?
Yes, I choreographed my solo for my senior pieces. I choreographed duets for me and a couple of my friends, and also trio projects.
And like when you did the choreography for those projects and everything, like what was the piece that you felt the most connected to?
For me, it was probably a duet that I did with my friend Kai. So basically, it was about a toxic relationship, and like I said, like I like to portray obvious emotion in my dances. So we had a lot of conversations about what we were trying to display through the movement and like also the way we were behaving with each other. So yes, there was like a lot of working together and spending time and like being comfortable dancing with each other, because we're not just two people dancing in empty space, we have to dance together.
Yeah.
And also like a lot of talk about like what we're trying to display and like what we were comfortable with each other, because we were displaying something that was toxic and that was like, it wasn't like gonna come across as nice. So we had a lot of conversations about, okay, this is for the dance, this is like, you know what I mean, and a lot of boundaries and talking about our emotions for what we actually feel versus what we're trying to display.
Yeah. So, like I feel like that's great, because it's like as artists, like like we show emotion in like all the work that we do. So it's like, and especially for dance, like I definitely can tell that it's always a story being told no matter what. And it's like I love the performance aspects, and I love seeing you dance. So Yeah, but thank you for your time. I hope to work with you soon.
Thank you for the questions. Excited to work with you.
Yep. That's it. Hi, my name is Angella, and we're back again with the conversation on vulnerability and how it pertains to our practice. And we have
Alexis.
what's your opinion?
I'm a film major.
So, Alexis, so what about vulnerability, like how do you say that?
Me myself, I'm not exactly a vulnerable person, but because I can't express it verbally like most people do, I tend to kind of incorporate it into my work, if that makes sense.
So, how does vulnerability play into your work?
Well, I like to go at it through different perspectives. I like using music a lot in my films. So okay, well, the short film that I did to get in here, for an example, my character, it was no words spoken. It was like a silent film in a sense. So it played through facial expressions and portraying those type of emotions, and combined with the music that I chose, it kind of played hand in hand. So without really speaking vulnerably, it kind of showed.
Okay. So, how do you plan to use vulnerability and continuing projects?
Vulnerability is a hard topic for me personally, but that is a goal that I have, to try and use it in different ways, more than just music or something that's not really vocal. I want to try to use it more vocally.
So if you pick through a dream project or a project that you would really want to do, or you're really thinking about right now, what would that look like?
Well, I have this long-term idea. It was kind of more a documentary piece, and it was focused. Well, I kind of in my head, I named it the art of gray, and it would focus on different colors and how that represented different emotions, and then how gray is kind of that odd in between space that a lot of people feel on an everyday basis but don't like to talk about. And I feel like that's a very relatable topic, but I pushed it off for a couple of years because I don't really know exactly how to go about it. And I feel like I'm still learning. I wanna know how to do it right before I actually do it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a long term.
I definitely get that. I feel like I was talking to somebody about this with somebody earlier. I feel like a slow walk sometimes gives you the best quality, rather than just so much producing so much content, but then it's okay, is the content worthy of is the quality good? Is it all the way there? So it's good that you're taking the time to really settle in on what you want it to look like, instead of rushing it. Because it's I feel like the slower you walk it, the better the quality will be, and the better you'll like it and appreciate it.
Yeah, because as a filmmaker, it's very easy to get really strung up in all these different ideas going through your head. You want to do it right away, but it's a long process, and as long as you do the process right, all the right steps, then it'll get a better result than if you just rush it. Storyboarding, shot listing, all that type of stuff.
So, last question. you see yourself in the future?
How far into the future?
As far as you want.
I really don't know. I don't know. I don't wanna put myself in a box type goal.
I
I'm
get
gonna
it.
be a booster, get there. And I'm like, honestly, it's
Sky's
no
the limit.
linear path. As long as I got a secure-ish income and I'm still able to do what I enjoy doing, then I think I'm set.
And on that note, we're done. We'll see you later.
Now it's your turn to answer the questions. What role does vulnerability play in your own personal life?
I think for me, vulnerability is, I use it to express myself, like in my everyday life. Like I see, like I'm a vulnerable person. So like when I find people that I'm close to and feel like I can trust them, I tend to be vulnerable. But when I'm vulnerable, also like just like not only with like family and like friends, but like sometimes even like if I'm in a good enough mood, like sometimes I'll be vulnerable with a stranger. It just depends on the space I'm in.
How does vulnerability play a role in your art form?
Vulnerability plays a big role in my art because a lot of my art like expresses like the success and like the happiness and like shine lights on beauty and like everything like that and like POC communities. So and also too like I want to start getting more into like the truths and like the hard truths of my community and my surrounding communities. And I feel like in order to do that, I have to be able to be vulnerable about my work and like who I am and the people around me. Like, so I'd say it plays a big role.
Where do you see yourself in the future, and what's the future goal that you hope to have?
In the future, I see myself as a CEO. I want to run a business where I have like a team of creatives there to help other creatives. So that's like one of my top projects, but really the sky's the limit. So thank y'all so much for having the conversation on vulnerability in the arts. My name is Elijah. Peace.